them accountable. Sean gets the answers no one else does. America deserves to know the truth about Congress.
All right, speaking of the truth about Congress, there's a conservative in New Hampshire. Now, I love the state of New Hampshire, Live Free or Die. Sounds like a great book title, doesn't it? America and the World on the Brink. Thank you for making it a number one bestseller. But anyway, the people of New Hampshire are ruggedly independent. They remind me a lot of people in like South Dakota, North Dakota, Alaska. This defines a New England state that is very different from the rest of New England, like, for example, Rhode Island and Massachusetts, just to begin with. And anyway, so we have a poll coming up, and I've been friends with former senator from Massachusetts, Scott Brown, for a long time, and he was the ambassador to New Zealand under President Trump. And interestingly, one day I'm talking to him, and he tells me a story that his wife, Gail Huff Brown, comes home and says, well, if you're not running, I'm running. And she is now running, and apparently with the elections and polling indicating amazing dissatisfaction with the status quo in New Hampshire. I really believe that this is a very, very winnable race. When I see and identify real conservatives, she is a conservative. She's a working mom. She's a grandmother, military spouse. She reported 30 years. She reported at the news in Boston on television, and known for giving her voice to the voiceless. This is her campaign ad, and of course we were going to invite her celebrity husband, but why bother? Anyway, here.
I'm Gail Huff Brown. I'm standing at the United States-Mexico border. Under Joe Biden and Chris Pappas, our border has become a national security and humanitarian crisis. I spent the day with border officials, and like so many in law enforcement, these agents are understaffed, under-resourced, and often underappreciated. And while Biden and Pappas do nothing, we see more trafficking of humans and separation of families at the border, and more trafficking of deadly drugs like fentanyl that come to New Hampshire. Enough is enough. We need to support our Border Patrol agents. We need to finish building the wall that President Trump started, and we need to secure our border.
Anyway, Gail Huff Brown now joins us. All right, so your husband's a senator, then he becomes an ambassador, and you're watching the political scene. He's not getting back into politics, and you came home, as I understand the story goes, and said to Scott Brown, I'm running. And what was that reaction like?
You're not doing that. Please tell me you're not doing that, honey. I love you so much, and if you do that, I don't know.
By the way, you're talking about what Scott said.
Because guess what? We've already been to the swamp once. Why would you go back? Why would you go back? Listen, thank you, Sean. I appreciate you having me on. It was shocking for him, but we had spent 4 years down in the Indo-Pacific, and we were supporting the America First, obviously the America First agenda. We were sent by President Trump, and Scott, the ambassador, myself as the president of the diplomatic spouses, and every single day, we were battling back against China and against the bad actors in that region. And I became ever more aware of how wonderful and amazing it was to be an American. Well, we came home and we found a very, very different America under Joe Biden. So different. We didn't even recognize it. And at first I thought, okay, well, let's give this some time. Let's give it some time. And then the day of the withdrawal, I was absolutely infuriated when I watched. We pulled our, not we, Joe Biden. He said right from the beginning, I'm taking full responsibility. He pulled our troops out of there, leaving hundreds of Americans behind. And I'll tell you something, Sean, and you know this. Our commander-in-chief has one job. That job is to protect Americans at home and abroad. And he couldn't even do that. I was furious, and I've said all along.
Look, I'm still furious about it, and
I am too. The fact that we had 13 Americans who were killed there, I mean, that's criminal. And I've said all along, that is criminal. And we have to stop Joe Biden. And Scott said, well, what are you going to do about it? I said, you know what? I'm tired of complaining, Scott. I'm tired of complaining. I'm tired of saying, this and that. No, I'm going to step up, and I'm going to have a voice in the arena, or I'm just going to shut up. And he said, okay, fine, do it.
So
here we are.
So let's go over, and I've now looked through all the materials, and I'll be honest, Gail, I'm not giving endorsements out easily this season, but I am endorsing your candidacy. And the main reason is your platform, and I want the people of New Hampshire and the rest of the country to hear and understand the type of candidates that I will support, like you, like Herschel Walker, like Tim Scott, like Dr. Oz, who got just smear job today. Politics is such an ugly sport. I guess they call it a blood sport for a good reason. And I want you to explain your philosophy so people can understand, in your words, not mine. I can tell everybody what it means for me to be a conservative in less than a minute, but I want to hear from you.
Oh, it's so simple. It's so simple, and people make it so complicated. It's about supporting the Constitution. It's about supporting freedom for everyone. It's about low taxes. It's about liberty. And it's about allowing for prosperity and happiness. I mean, God forbid, and happiness. It's about providing, what is my grandchild? I have a 1-year-old granddaughter, and what kind of America is she going to grow up in? Is she going to have the opportunities that Scott and I have had? Scott and I came from nothing. We came from nothing, and we worked 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 so hard, and we did achieve the American dream. We bought a house, we raised a family. Will they have that opportunity? Not if we're a socialist country, and that seems to be the direction we're headed. So I am convinced that we have to turn our country around, and we can do that by taking back the House and the Senate.
I think it's the only way, and I call this an inflection point for the country, and I've said it on other elections. But it's never been this urgent for me, in as much as it's a tipping point election. And I never thought, even writing Live Free or Die, which I think you might appreciate being from New Hampshire. By the way, if you're just joining us, Gail Huff Brown is with us, Scott Brown's wife. She's running for Congress in New Hampshire, a very important pickup seat for the Republicans. They've got to get this seat. And anyway, so I'm sitting and I'm watching. I said, Live Free or Die, America and the world on the brink. And I really had no idea how right I would be. And it turns out I was more right than I ever dreamed I'd be. And I wish I was wrong. We now see the economy spiraling even more out of control every day. We see what reducing the world supply of the lifeblood of every economy, energy, oil, gas, what it has done. And now we have a president begging to make a deal with the Iranian mullahs, begging, the Venezuelan dictator thug. And we have all of this energy right here under our own feet, and we don't tap into it. How crazy is that?
It makes no sense. We were energy independent under Donald Trump, under President Trump. And the fact that the country has just shifted directions so quickly and fallen into this kind of inflation, gas prices. I mean, I have friends here in New Hampshire that are having a hard time making ends meet. They can't afford to buy food. They can't afford to pay for the gas to get to work. It's just, this is really affecting Americans, and I wish people would wake up and realize that people are really hurting all across this country. We have to do something to help them. We have to.
If America would just return to the policies of Donald Trump on energy, on the borders, law and order, safe, so everyone can be safe and secure. If we had parental involvement and education, have school choice, and break this unholy alliance with teachers' unions and the Democratic Party, if we went back to lower taxes, not raising taxes, every problem that I'm mentioning here was preventable, and all of them are easily fixable. It will take time now because of all the damage that's being done, but it can be fixed.
It can be fixed, but the first thing we have to do, as you know, Sean, is we have to stop Joe Biden. We have to stop him. The only way we can do that is to put up a blockade. And then they have all sorts of other fancy ways of getting around that with, reconciliations. We know that all too well. And the filibuster, and we have to be able to take our country back. And the only way we're going to do that is obviously by putting a Republican back in the corner office. It has to happen.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I think this is going to be the year that the Republicans will take the majority in the House. I think the Senate is a little bit tougher. What is your position on where the race stands in terms of right direction, wrong direction, and generic ballot?
Well, in terms of the country, here's my biggest concern, Sean. I keep hearing Republicans say, oh, red wave, red wave. You know what? There's still a long time until the election. We cannot sit back and say, oh, we're going to win. We're going to win. We have to fight every single day. Every single day. And it concerns me a lot when I hear Republicans say, oh, don't worry, we're going to take plenty of seats. I hope we do. I hope we do have a red wave. But what if we don't? I mean, the point is we have to get people out to vote. Do not stay home and say, my neighbor, he's a good Republican, she's a good conservative, she's going to go vote. No. Everybody has to go out and vote. In my particular race, I mean, there are some opponents in the primary. I obviously am very, very much running this race to win it. I have an opponent, Matt Mowers. I don't know if you heard about this, but there's a voting scandal around him. He voted here in New Hampshire in the presidential primary 2016 when he was working for Chris Christie. And then in the same election went down to New Jersey, where he's from, and voted again.
Yeah.
I mean, this is exactly what our party is fighting. We have to stop. We have to stop voter fraud. It has to happen. And election integrity is a major emphasis of my campaign, along with border security.
Yeah, and energy independence, and low taxes, and less government, and peace through strength. Really simple principles, but they work profoundly, in my mind.
Yes, they do.
Anyway, how can people get in touch with you? Want to find out more about your positions? Gail Huff Brown, running for the 1st District in the great state of New Hampshire. How can people read your position papers?
I would love to have them go to my website. It's Gail Huff Brown for Congress, and they will find out everything I know and all of the policies that I support, and the fact that I am a conservative who believes that we can take our country back. We have to be hopeful. But we have to work hard, Sean. We have to work hard.
That's the only way, and you have to act like you're 5 points down and fight that way the entire time. We'll watch this race closely. Anyway, Gail Huff Brown, best of luck.
You.
Appreciate you being with us. Getting back Congress means we plug the hole in the boat. That means Build Back Broke. That means the Biden agenda. The only thing they'll do is they'll empower the Department of Homeland Security to have climate initiatives. They'll empower the DOJ to do the same. But they won't have the ability to get anything done legislatively, which will stop the bleeding. It will stop the water that the boat of this country is taking on. All right, quick break. We'll come back. We'll get to the phones. 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program. It's no secret Americans are more divided than ever. We can see it every single day. And it's not just over what policies will improve our great country. It's over whether, some people are questioning America's greatness and goodness. I look at America as the greatest country God ever gave man. A perfect country? No. No such thing as a perfect country. But we right wrongs, we correct injustices. Anyway, our friends at Hillsdale College every month put out Imprimis. Now, Imprimis looks at the issues of the day from a constitutional perspective. They remind all of us always of our great heritage of liberty and how important it is to preserve liberty. Reagan once famously said, freedom is but one generation away from extinction. And they've done this now for 50 years with Imprimis. They feature speeches given at Hillsdale by some of the smartest conservative thinkers of our time. Victor Davis Hanson, I know Mark Levin just did an event with them. Anyway, there's over 6.2 million American households and businesses that get Imprimis. It's absolutely free. All you have to do is sign up. We have a special website, and you can get your free subscription by going to SeanForHillsdale.com, SeanFor Hillsdale.com, and you're going to learn a lot. SeanForHillsdale.com.
The radio show the mainstream media loves to hate. This is the Sean Hannity Show.